doing, everybody? I just wanted to take you through one of the projects that I have been working on since I've been retired. About a year ago, I bought this Cruiser Class A from a guy. The price was really right. The story is that he bought this with his wife, and they cruised around doing what couples do, and his wife started to become sick, and they didn't because she was sick, they didn't take it out for a while. They put it in their barn, and eventually his wife unfortunately passed, so he just had it in his barn for about 7 years. He remarried, and I guess his second wife didn't want anything to do with it, so they decided to sell it, and I was the fortunate one to get it at a good price. But that being said, there's a few things wrong with it that is fixable to make it a usable vehicle again. One of the things is that the onboard generator was not working. It would not even fire up. So what I did is I called a company that works on Kohler generators. It was a 5 kW generator. He came out twice. First time was to diagnose the problem, which happened to be a circuit board. The second time he brought the circuit board out. Circuit board worked, but only to find out the starter was bad. So $1,600 later, I still did not have a working generator. So what I decided to do, with the help of my brother-in-law and a friend, we pulled it out of the bay, and I'm going to show you what I did with that space. So this is the bay that the 5 kW Kohler generator was in. I built this platform out of plywood and 2x4s. Mind you, anything that you see here is you can get at your local big box lumber yard or your local lumber yard, however you want to do it. But all of these is just from off-the-shelf products, screws, whatever. Originally, I used half-inch plywood because that was the minimum thickness that I thought would support a portable generator. By the way, I'll show you what the replacement is. It is this Predator 3500 inverter generator from Harbor Freight. I'm not really going to go into the generator itself. There are plenty of videos on YouTube that deal with the Predator, only to say that I do recommend it. It's more than enough to boondock with, run one air conditioner, the TV, a few lights, my Keurig coffee maker in the morning, but it is more than adequate to handle any boondocking situation. So let's get back to this. One of the things I had to do when before I took the Kohler out is disconnect a bunch of things. One of which was the fuel line here, which I kind of left here. If it's not in the way and it's, I can deal with it, I just left it because it's just a pain in the butt to get everything out. Wasn't concerned about fuel coming through the line, which goes into the rig's gas tank. But just to make sure, I plugged this up and with a hose clamp. This, by the way, is a shear pin off from the spare shear pin from the snowblower. We do live in the Northeast, the snow belt here, so readily available, and it fit just perfect. But just to make sure I don't get any fumes up from the gas tank or anything, I just plug that up. This connector went into that. That goes to remote start switches, both in the galley and on the dash of the motorhome. Those switches are now dead because it's not connected. I just tucked it up underneath. Through one, I believe it's this hole here, was the 12-volt line from the battery used for starting of the Kohler. I just pulled it through the hole. I'll show you in a minute. I did not remove it because that would mean opening a bunch of areas which I didn't want to mess with. It is disconnected from the battery at the other end, so there's no chance of it shorting against the chassis or anything. So anyways, I'll show you underneath. You can see this is just 2x4 construction, bolted to the frame on 4 corners. Okay, and getting way underneath here, I just zip tie. You can see the red, that is the positive line that went up to the front of the coach to the battery and came through that hole for to supply 12 volts for the starter. I don't need that. I zip tied it up out of the way. Once again, that is disconnected. This bolt here goes to an eye bolt on the other side, on the top side, which I'll show you. This eye bolt here, and there's another one on this side. That's to go to, what I did is I took a standard cargo strap, I shortened it, and that's the tie downs for the generator when the coach is in motion. You don't want that sliding around. Also, I drilled holes for ventilation in case I want to put the generator away when it's right after it's been run. It was an open frame. Originally, I built this platform to fit on this frame, which is the original frame for the Kohler generator. I found that because that caused a clearance issue between the Predator and the opening. It was like I needed another ½ inch or so, and by removing that frame I gained about 1 inch. Not only that, that frame is solid steel. That's pretty heavy. That gets rid of, say, maybe about 10 pounds of weight. So, and I still had this. Now, the only other connection that was on the generator that I had to take off to remove the Kohler was this line here was hardwired and into the generator. I took that out and I replaced it with your standard 30 amp plug. Now, where does this wire go? Well, let me show you. Let's go back to the electrical bay. That goes to a 50 amp receptacle in the electrical bay, which my shore power cord plugs right into. Now, I know some of the newer coaches have your fancy transfer switch to transfer between shore power and generator power. I don't have this on this, but this is, I think, is better because it's your manual transfer switch. If I want to plug into shore power, I unplug that. If I want to plug into generator power, I plug this back in. So that's your manual transfer switch. There's absolutely no way for shore power to get back to your generator. So now I took a piece of angle iron or an angle bracket and I attached it to the front. So what's that for? Okay, I will show you. Okay, so I made another platform which I'm storing in here in the other compartment with fold out legs, and these are just standard door hinges. I found that I need to make I don't know if you can see it, I need to make a 45-degree cut here in the 1 2x4 so to recess this part of the hinge. So I just put this out here with the legs down, and to keep them in place I've drilled holes, and they go through one of the holes here in the angle bracket so that you don't want the thing collapsing on you. There we go. And to make sure they stay in place, I have these butterfly washers, or the butterfly nuts rather. Okay, get everything out of the way. Okay, now that little platform will hold the generator, which I'm going to put up there right now. This generator, by the way, is 100 pounds with oil, gasoline, everything. It's a little bit on the heavy side compared to like your Hondas and stuff, but it's not without, it's within reason for one person or preferably two people to lift. Let's see if we can do that. Okay. Now, I'm going to lock my... There. One caveat I have for the Predators is the wheel brake only locks one wheel. I kind of wish they had it at least two wheels so that it would not roll. But as you can see, it is kind of a tight, it will fit in there, but it's snug. So, Predator does include this nice little adapter plug for your standard 30 amp RV plug. I've heard through many YouTube videos that this Harbor Freight on the early Predators, the early 3500s, this plug was rotated 180 degrees so that when you plugged in, it was upside down and it would tend to unlock. It was upside down and it would tend to unlock. Mine came right like this. It was installed correctly. Now see, I'm trying to plug this in and it's rolling. Okay, there we go. So that's plugged in, and I kind of lucked out on this. It kind of hangs nicely. So it's plugged in to the shoreline in the 50 amp plug, which comes to a 30 amp plug here. Does that mean I can run 50 amps? No, absolutely not. I can't even run 30 amps because right here it says 25 amps total maximum. So I have to be conservative when I'm on generator power. But 25 amps, well, I've already had this running, and I've had one of my air conditioners on, I've had the TV going, I've had lights on, and the AC unit draws about half the capacity, about 1500 watts. So I can run, probably run a coffee maker, TV, a few lights, all together. So anyways, when I put this plug in, the 30 amp plug, the two hot lines from the 50 amp go to one leg. There's two neutral returns, and of course the ground. So, and that's more than enough to run. Now you say, all right, here's the exhaust. That right there, it's coming out to the side of my coach. Well, we got windows right here. So I want to make sure when I'm running the generator, these windows stay closed. But here's the thing. When I had the Kohler, the original Kohler, the exhaust came out right about there. So it comes out about the same place. So if you're running your AC, chances are you're going to have the windows closed. And if you're running anything else, well, you just got to make sure that the windows on this side of the coach are pretty much closed. And if you want to open the windows, well, then you shut the generator down. So let's fire it up and we'll see what we got. There she is running, and I turned on the AC on the inside, so you can see it's handling it quite well. Very quiet machine, as I'm standing about maybe 4 or 5 feet away, and I can still talk to you. I kind of love this machine, but don't take my word for it. Go on YouTube and research the Predator. A lot of people give it give it high ratings. One thing I didn't mention is that on my platform here, I also drilled some ventilation holes in the deck, so that I have ventilation even though this is out. Another thing that problem that I ran into is the door to the generator bay has this latch. Well, that latch latched onto this piece, which was attached to the frame. So that frame is no longer in there, so that piece is useless. So just to keep the door closed or flying open, I put this little latch to the next compartment door. like I said, this is all hardware that's readily available. All I need, all is that latch. That latch looks kind of flimsy, but all it needs to do is keep it from flapping out, flapping in the breeze when we're going down the highway. Does not need to hold back, 20 tons of weight. It just needs to keep the door closed. I might at some point put a latch on the other side just to make sure, extra sure that door stays closed. So I'm gonna shut this down. Well, I'm gonna let it run for a little while because I'm still breaking the generator in. So I'll come back and I'll show you the generator inside the compartment and tied down for transport. One of the advantages to having a portable generator rather than a generator that is permanently attached to the coach is that when I have the coach in storage in the wintertime, yes, we are in the snow belt, I can take the generator out, keep it here at the house, and if we get a blizzard that knocks out our power to the house, I can use it for backup in the house. I couldn't do that unless I brought the whole coach over, which is not feasible when you've got drifting snow and all of that crap. So, alright, I will show you. I'm going to run this for a little while and then I'll show you how I stow it away. See, I got several electrical things going here. I got the AC on low. I got the TV running. I got some lights on. The microwave is on, but it's not running. So we got the necessities. I haven't got my Keurig out here, but I'm sure it would handle that. Oh, nice Western. So as you can see, I've done some improvements in here, which I might do another video. I mounted this flat screen because the old tube type TV was up here. I gotta fix I did a panel here, a little electrical plug, some 12-volt plugs, but that used to be a TV right there. So I got to do the same in the back. As you can see, it's an older unit. Nice queen size bed in the back. Had another TV in that hole. That was the old small tube type. I would like to take another flat screen and mount it on this wall, but that's a project for another day. So, bathroom, shower. Okay, so you can see lights work. So we're running fine on generator power. So we'll come back and show you some more stuff. So I've run it for about 45 minutes, almost an hour. So I shut it down, and I'll show you how I stow it. First of all, I'm gonna take this plug out, that came out instead. That's supposed to stay in there. What I might do eventually, and there's a YouTube video for this as well as everything else, is replace this 3-prong locking plug with a standard 3-prong 30 amp RV socket eventually. But anytime you do any modifications to the generator, then you void the warranty. And I purchased the 1-year warranty on this, so I'm not ready to do that and void my warranty. But eventually I might do that. Just do away with this adapter plug, because that's just one more thing to fail if it does fail. Just another point of connection, corrosion, blah 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 blah. If if I can just eliminate this, that's one less thing I can that I have to worry about, and I can just plug directly into the generator. So this is not going to be easy. That's why I put this linoleum down. This was an attempt to reduce the friction between the wheels and the plywood. It does some, but the very nature of linoleum is that you want a skid resistant surface when you're walking. So it does reduce it some, but and it looks nice. Anyways, so this may take a little effort, but you can see she just fits. I may have to slide over that lip on both sides. You can just slide it right in until it gets to the end. And you notice, I don't know if you can see this, but I've also drilled holes here for a little ventilation coming up from the bottom. There's holes in there. So, and the door itself, there was a generator in there. To begin with, the door itself has this screen for ventilation too. So I'm just going to tuck this in here someplace. So, like I said, I have taken, first of all, I want to take my extra shelf out. So, take the wing nuts out from the back. And it's just so that I just stow this in the other compartment to have it ready. Put the wing nut back on the bolt. Incidentally, these bolts are left over from a truck project I had before. I have a homemade utility trailer, and when I got it, the back gate was in a really bad condition. The hinges were broken. So I built a whole new back gate, and I used these to put new hinges through the wood. I had some left over, so now this comes right off, and the legs fold up flat, and I put it into my other compartment upside down so the legs stay. Then I'll take I'm going to move you down here. Hold on just a second. I got you in a better position. I don't know if it's getting a little dark, but I don't know if you can see. Those, I just run this through the handles. On to my eye bolts. And tighten up on that. Let me see. If you notice, on the platform, all my hardware is as far out to the side as I could get it, so I could easily slide this in, and it won't interfere with the wheels. So I wouldn't catch any of the bolts with the wheels. Incidentally, the eye bolts go through the 2x4s on the other side, not just through the plywood, but all the way through the 2x4s. So they're good and solid, everything, and nothing's going to move. So there it is, stored in a Predator 3500 watt inverter generator, stored in the original bay that the Kohler, the hard-mounted Kohler generator sat. So if you like this video, please give it a thumbs up. Comments, I will answer any questions I can. This is just a fun little project that I did to save a generator space, or reuse a generator space for a non-working generator. So thank you for watching, and I will have more videos coming soon. Thank you. I did mention the latch on the back. That just will latch there. And like I said, this door does not have to hold back the world. It just has to keep closed when we're going down the highway. And there is a grill there that's was just the way that was. I left the original handle on just because for aesthetics purposes it matches the rest of the handles on the cargo doors. And if I took it out, it would just leave a big hole there, and nobody wants that. So just left it in place. It's non-functional. As I said, where it latches onto is gone along with the frame. So alright, this ends it right here. Thank you. Bye.